Before we begin, you're about to witness one of the most powerful stories of deliverance ever recorded, and there is a detail in it that almost no one notices. So subscribe to the channel now and turn on the notification bell, because this can completely change the way you see suffering, faith, and miracles. In the land of Egypt, under a sun that seemed to show no mercy, an entire people lived as if they had been forgotten by the world. The air was heavy, the ground burned their feet, and life was made of repeated pain every single day. The Israelites had no freedom, no rest, no voice. They were nothing but forced labor. Their backs bled as they carried blocks of stone under the shouts of taskmasters. The sound of whips echoed as if it were part of the very air itself. And their eyes, even exhausted, still cried in silence. But the worst was not the work. It was the feeling of abandonment, as if the heavens were silent, as if God was not watching. Now tell me something. Have you ever felt like that? Write it in the comments, because this happens to more people than you might think. Pharaoh, fearing the growth of this people, made a cruel decision. Every Hebrew baby boy who is born must die. And so Egypt became a place where fear never slept. Mothers hid their children in absolute silence. Any sound could mean death. Families lived with their eyes open in the darkness, not knowing if they would see tomorrow. And the Nile River was no longer just a river. It became a silent witness to tragedies that no one could stop. Until one mother made an impossible decision. With a broken heart, she looked at her newborn baby, the small, helpless face, breathing for the first time. She knew Pharaoh's decree. She knew the danger. She knew the likely end. But she also knew she could not surrender that life to death without a fight. With tears falling uncontrollably, she kissed her son one last time. A kiss that looked like a farewell, but was actually a prayer. Then she placed him inside a small waterproof basket, and with trembling hands, almost without strength, she pushed the basket into the river. The silence of that moment was so deep, it felt like the world had stopped, and the river carried the baby slowly, as if something invisible was guiding that life, as if destiny itself was writing a story no one could yet see. That baby was Moses, and no one imagined he was being carried straight into the center of the very power that wanted him dead. Pharaoh's daughter was walking along the riverbank, and then she saw the basket. The sound of the baby's cry cut through the silence, and in that instant, something unexpected happened. Her heart, used to luxury and hardness, was broken by compassion. "This will be my son," she said. And so the boy, who had been condemned to die, was raised inside the house of the man who had ordered his destruction. Moses grew up between two worlds that were never meant to meet. On one side, gold, power, and the palace. On the other, an enslaved people, suffering every single day. And inside him, something began to burn in silence, a restlessness he could not explain. Until one day, he saw something that changed everything. An Egyptian soldier brutally beating a Hebrew man. The sound of violence felt louder than anything else in the world. And in that moment, something inside Moses broke. He looked around. No one saw. No one was watching. In a desperate impulse, driven by anger and accumulated pain, he attacked the Egyptian. And in that second, his life changed forever. The secret did not stay hidden. It spread like fire. And suddenly Moses was no longer a prince. He became a fugitive, the most wanted man in Egypt. Moses fled. No protection, no identity, no future, only him. And the desert. The silence of the desert was not empty. It was heavy, as if every grain of sand carried thoughts screaming inside him. Years passed. The prince became a shepherd. The powerful man became someone forgotten. and it seemed like the story had ended there. But God had not finished. One day, while tending sheep in a forgotten place of the world, Moses saw something impossible. A bush on fire. The fire was real, but it did not consume the plant. It did not destroy. It did not weaken. It did not end. It simply burned without destroying. And then a voice came from the middle of the fire. Moses! The sound of his name made the world feel like it collapsed into silence. Moses! He fell to his knees, trembling, and the entire desert seemed to hold its breath. It was God. I have seen the suffering of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cry, and I have come down to deliver them. Moses' heart raced. Free an entire nation? Him, a fugitive? Who am I? He asked. And the answer pierced everything. I will be with you. I will bring part 2 of this with something even stronger. So turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it. Moses returned to Egypt, but nothing was simple. Pharaoh did not give in. His heart became harder with every confrontation, and then Egypt began to fall apart. Water turned to blood. Chaos spread across the land. Plagues appeared like impossible signs to ignore, but Pharaoh still resisted until the final night arrived. A night different from all others, heavy, silent, as if the entire world was waiting for something inevitable. Inside the Hebrew houses, there was blood on the doorposts, but there was also something deeper, hope mixed with fear. At midnight, a cry swept through Egypt, then another and another. Pharaoh lost his son, and the entire nation was shattered by a pain impossible to ignore. And finally, he gave in. Go away, all of you. And in that moment, something historic began. A whole multitude walking for the first time toward freedom. But freedom was not yet complete. The sea was ahead, and the army behind. The sound of chariots approached like an unstoppable thunder. Dust filled the sky. Fear took over everything. We are going to die now. Then Moses raised his staff, and the impossible happened. The wind roared, the sea split open. Water rose like living walls on both sides, and a dry path appeared where there had been no way through. The people crossed crying, trembling, unable to believe what their eyes were seeing. And when the last step was taken, the sea closed with overwhelming force. Silence returned, but now it was a different silence, the silence of freedom. If this made sense to you, there is probably someone who needs to hear this too. Share this video with that person. After centuries of pain, the people were finally free, and that day became forever marked as proof of something greater. When everything seems lost, there is still a God who makes a way where there is no way. If this video helped you in any way, subscribe to the channel because that is how I know I should keep bringing this kind of content.